Okay, so this episode, as well as the next, I would say 3 or 4 episodes, were all recorded about 3 to 4 months ago. So a lot of this is coming out late, which I'm sorry for. But anyway, today we're going to go into Dustwallow Marsh. And the first thing we see is going to be the Shady Rest Inn, which is completely infested with spiders, including this world boss spider. Now, world boss spiders are not really that hard to kill. I mean, with my horde and my star metal equipment, it took maybe a minute to take them down, and then I looted the skeleton key that was on them, went to the nearby chest, and looted a legendary weapon. Now, legendary weapons in Conan Exiles are not like the legendary weapons in World of Warcraft. It just basically is a level of rarity or quality that would be above average, but they're not really like a lore weapon. It's not really that important, so I would probably use it when I can. You see it right there on my back. It's a one-handed sword. I would use that if I could not use my hammer, or it would be better to use something else with the one-handed sword. But other than that, once it's done, I'll pretty much just toss it and not care about it. Now, I marked on the map all the locations that you would have seen just there of where I want to go in order to complete this map. Basically, all of the points of interest, which would generally be where all of the points of interest on the map in World of Warcraft would be. And the first area besides the Shady Rest Inn is this Alliance Watchtower. Now, there are a few of these towers that are capture points, so this one right here has an Alliance banner. The longer I stand inside of it, their banner will go down and my banner will go up, and then the Horde will control it. I will also get access to a treasure chest which would have some resources in it. So I continue to sweep around the southern end. Now, unfortunately, there is no Onyxia's lair, or the area that the Black Dragons would roam in World of Warcraft on this map. For some reason, it completely cuts off just before you reach there, so there's not really anything of interest on the southern side of the map. Regardless, I sweep around it, I make a circle, and I start heading back up north. Now, there are a couple of areas, like the one that has the mage. I cannot actually remember what her name was, but she has a couple of quests for you to do inside of Zul'Farrak and a couple of other places, so I visit there. I also visit where the crashed Zeppelin would be, and that spot had a couple of iguanas. Now, the iguanas in this game are called salamanders, and they spit like a bile at you. You actually would use that in order to make volatile bombs or orbs, and that's how you would harvest star metal in the regular game. But we don't need those to harvest star metal on this map, so I just killed a few of them, said I've been there, and I continued north to just outside Brackenwall Village. Now, right there, you're gonna see a mine that has another world boss. This is the guy that completely wrecked me in the last episode in Stone Talon Mountains and killed one of my followers. This time, we're better equipped, better prepared, and we're gonna take him on. It takes about, again, a minute. It's definitely harder than the spider boss. He can do a lot more AoE sweeping abilities, and I even had to pull back a couple of times and take some potions. And even one of my followers, I think, fell at some point, so I had to pick him back up. So yeah, that guy is no joke, but eventually he does go down, and just like the spider boss, we attain the skeleton key, and we go and we loot the nearby chest associated with him. After Rot Branch was taken out, we then turn to Brackenwall Village. Now, Brackenwall Village is going to be part of the Brigand faction. It is not Horde friendly. So, approaching up to it, you see the ogres. The ogres are using the Frost Giant models, but they are tan instead of blue, which completely makes sense. I completely agree for this model being the ogre. And there's actually some mods that will use this model to be orcs, and they'll be green instead. Of course, that mod, they still have the frostbite damage that they deal to you. These guys do not give you frostbite, which is good because frostbite is a pain in the ass and can hurt just as bad as poison sometimes. Now, these guys do hit pretty hard still, even without the frostbite, so it takes my entire horde to take out a couple at a time. Now, if it was just one-on-one, I could take these out, maybe even two-on-one, I could take them out, but this is an entire village. Luckily, though, my horde was able to completely wipe them out. We even took out their pets, which I don't know what those guys are called. They're some sort of rhino that are on the Isle of Sipta map. I go up to the watchtower, which is is the last area to clear before I could say I've defeated Brackenwall Village. There's one guy up here, and surprisingly, this village did not have like a mini boss or a world boss or anything really to say that, yeah, this is the leader of the village. So it was just a couple of ogres, their pets. Yeah, I was actually kind of disappointed, but I do like the Warlords of Draenor architecture. It does look kind of cool, especially in this setting. Now, something that is brand new that is not in World of Warcraft is this Blackrock Orc area. Now, these guys I think are also part of the Brigand faction. I can't be for sure, but I assume that they are. Either way, because they are not friendly to the Horde, I do have to fight them, and they are aggro on sight. So we pull back the, guardsmen that are by the gate right there, as well as an additional gator that kind of came from the pond nearby, and then we rush inside. I go up into the battlements where one of my guys already was. I don't know why he rushed ahead without us, but he was getting a beat down, so I had to go and help him out. So once we took out the enemies on the battlements, we then moved toward the crafting area where there was a mini boss. Now, unlike Brackenwall, this village, they do have mini bosses around the various areas. So you see right there with the yellow text, he's a named thrall. Not quite a mini boss, but I'm going to consider him one because named thralls are a lot tougher than regular thralls, as they are tier 4 rather than 1, 2, or 3. There's also a couple of items just laying around that you could pick up. And fun fact, the last time I played this map during Season 1, this is the town where I figured out that there were stuff on the floor that you could just pick up, that it kind of glows, kind of like World of Warcraft, but in this game's version of it. You could just go and grab it. I was like, oh wow, that's new. That wasn't in here before. The developer had just added it, and now it's pretty much almost all over the map. And right there you see me going into first person. I was just kind of doing that to kind of look around, get a closer look at what I could pick up, what couldn't I pick up. I liked looking at that throne there. It was pretty cool. And then for like the next minute or so, I fought in first person, which is funny because originally this game was built for first person. It was supposed to be a first person survival game. Of course, as they developed the game and added new animations, they kind of built the game more for third person and kind of forgot about the first person. So as I go to swing my weapons, my arms kind of clip into the camera of, where the character's eyes are, so you could tell it was kind of left behind in terms of the development. So I'd switch back to third person because I would prefer looking at my character anyway, especially in a game like this. The mine that I'm in is pretty big. You can either go left or right. Left has a couple of rock noses, but it does have crystals as well as star metal ore. So I grabbed some of the star metal ore and I give it to one of my followers to carry because this stuff will get heavy the more you carry, and I don't need to be encumbered right now. After that, I went to the right, and there's a couple of rooms that I kind of skipped over into the editing because it's just rooms just with enemies and it's not really that exciting, but the final room was actually pretty cool. Above, you see a bunch of hanging dead dragons, kind of like how the Dragon Maw would do it. And there's, I think, one mini boss on the inside, but then you have a lot of the enemies as well as their pets that will rush. Now, there are slaves, they kind of ignore you for the most part, but if you attack them, they'll either attack you back or run away. So I cleared out the entire cave. I grabbed some of the black ice that was in the area in order to smelt with the star metal, and then I headed back out. Now I headed up north a little bit further where I found another rot branch. Now, because I already killed a rot branch this episode, I skip him and I continue on to where normally the Grim Totem village would be. Now, instead of Grim Totem, we are meted with a dragon. Now, this is a fully fledged dragon and not a hatchling that sometimes would find out in the wild. This one you could tell is a full-fledged one because of the 3 skulls by its name, which also signify it as a world boss. These are one of the harder world bosses, especially because they can breathe fire, they do a lot of AoE attacks, and they're pretty much heavy-hitting overall. The dragon eventually goes down. I loot their head, which is definitely going to go on the front of my, fortress that I've been building. But I'll tell you more about that in a little while, because the next area right here is going to be another Alliance watchtower. Now, this one is not a capture point, and there's nothing really special about it other than just defeating the Alliance inside, a chest. So I go ahead and I do that, and I run all the way to the top, and once I realized there was nothing more than just a chest with some gray lotus seeds, which was kind of boring, I went and I kind of jumped down just to get down faster, but I underestimate the jump and I completely just die right there. Yeah, that was kind of funny. I did not expect it to be that high, so I took this moment to drop off all the items that I had already looted. You see all the treasure right there, so I'll explain the fortress in a second here. So I drop off all the stuff, I resupply, I got on my horse that I didn't take at first because I thought it'd be cool to run all my horde through the barrens to head to there. I also grabbed Tekar on the way and we headed back, regained my body, got the horde pack, and we continued on our rampage through the Dustwallow Marsh. Now then, the fort that I was telling you about, I've already shown some footage of me, starting my build, but I had been working on it between all of these episodes, and right now I can tell you it is massive. It is nearly built, but the primary purpose of it is going to be to repel a purge, and I've been, building up the purge level with all of the treasure I've been looting across these various episodes, raiding all these towns and villages. So yeah, I expect this purge to completely destroy this beautiful, base I've built. But anyway, I head over to this house right here. I don't exactly remember what this area was called in World of Warcraft, but I know that there are quests here for both Horde and Alliance. There wasn't really much, just a, Blood Elf vendor, so I continued on. Now, I was almost to Theramore, which you're not going to see Theramore in this episode. I'm going to be saving Theramore for one of the last episodes. Now, I do go to the beach area just north of Theramore, where there's the little islands scattered about. Now, in the actual World of Warcraft game, this area is filled with murlocs. Now, there are kind of murloc creatures, which are servants of Dagon, and then you have this guy right here, who's also a servant of Dagon, and he is a world boss. Well, not really a world boss, he is a mini-boss. Now, generally you would find him in the Dagon dungeon in the actual Conan Exiles game, but instead he's serving as a murloc boss. Now, not every island will have these murlocs at them. Like this one right here has Blackhand, which are considered the pirates of this game, and not the Blackhand that we know from World of Warcraft. Now, these guys are Iron tier, so they're not that difficult. I take them out, no problem, and then we continued on to the next island. Now, the next island was pretty much the same thing, so eventually we headed over to Alkaz Island. Now, Alkaz Island is going to be the final area of this episode, because again, we're saving Theramore for last. Now, you may remember Alkaz Island from the first episode, or was it the second one? I don't remember, but because I knew that Star Metal had spawned here, because in Season 1, this was actually the first place I went to after leaving Durotar, before I actually finished Durotar, and yeah, I just kind of wanted to get the Star Metal right away, but of course that was before Conan Exiles changed the rules so you can only farm Star Metal with a hardened steel pickaxe rather than just any old pickaxe. So it was a way to prevent you from jumping straight into the end game with, minimal work put into it. But I continue through the path, killing all these monkey men, and it is in the dead of night. I can't see anything. And as I reach the end of this path, I am surprised and pretty much got jump scared at the sight of a giant black yeti coming out at me. Now, black yetis are extremely rare in Conan Exiles. There's only like one or two of them in like the northernmost, like top of the mountains, so very few people even know that they exist, and they are considered world bosses. Now, I do take out all of the other monkey men, and then I continued onto the black yeti, and he does hit really hard. I think I had to lift up one of my guys once, and the black yeti, you see him finally go down there. He dropped Star Metal, he dropped black silk, as well as a legendary weapon, and there wasn't really anything in the house, surprisingly, so we continued up to the top where we found a silverback gorilla. Now, he is an alpha kind of creature, which means out of the gorilla monkey, models, the silverback is the harder one, but he is iron tier, so I hit him once and he goes down. The monkey men have more health than he does, so I don't really know why he's there other than this is Monkey Island, pretty much. So if you go back down now to the center of Alkaz, you'll see there that there is a summoning stone. That's to tell you you that this is a dungeon. Now, this dungeon was in Season 1. It's one of the first dungeons added to the game. It is a single boss dungeon, so it's not long at all, but we're going to do it anyway in order to finish up Dustwallow Marsh. Once you enter in, you do need to break this boulder in order to continue. You will find 2 enemies right there on the inside. You can skip them optionally. I think I killed them, I actually don't remember. And then when you go across the water, you will find the boss. Now the boss is pretty tough, but also as you see that purple kind of like mist or whatever over there, this is a corruption zone. Now corruption in Conan Exiles, the longer you're corrupted, it will drain your maximum stats, including your health and stamina. But on the other side, if you're a sorcerer or a mage, you can use that corruption to do more, stronger spells and abilities, but at the lack of not having as much health or stamina. You see there the purple bars in my health and stamina to show you that that's going to be the new maximum until I get the corruption cleared. Now, clearing corruption is actually very easy. All you need to do is visit an entertainer, which you could just enslave one and put one in your base, so you could just have unlimited corruption clearing. But anyway, that is going to be the end of Dustwallow Marsh. I have now completed all of it. I head back home with my warband. I deposit all of the materials I had gathered. I then use those materials to craft them better gear. Now, my gear is pretty good, but I'm also going to make myself a new helmet because my helmet is really the only thing left that is not really, that good. It's still iron tiered quality. I do end up making a brand new weapon, which will be on par with Star Metal, so I'm not losing quality, but I'm going to gain aesthetic purposes there. I repair all of the equipment that had been damaged on that excursion, and I'm going to get ready for my next episode, which, to be honest, I actually don't remember what came after Dustwallow Marsh, so it's going to be a surprise to me when I pull it up into the editing program, and it's going to be a surprise for you on the next episode when you see it. So until then, I will see you next time.